Warren. All good, all good. I thought I'd share the 1920 monitor just because I think the other one will be
Perfect. Perfect.
a bit too big. I'm just thinking. Let's put that there. Oh, is that a reminder saying?
Yeah, it's basically saying it's 12 o'clock and it's time for.
Oh, it's my personal reminder.
Hey Neil, how you doing? Hey Lottie. Okay.
I just had a look in GitHub, and it seems I've already visited the Upside Down our UmbraCo in season 1, apparently.
Okay. We can figure it out all along the way. I can see you now, Lottie. Hello. Oh no.
I can hear you now too.
Oh, perfect. Discord just wanted to reboot itself. That was useful. Oh, and there's a Kevin Jumpers here as well.
Kevin Jumper.
A jumper.
What kind of, yeah.
Hey, Kevin.
Oh, he'll know that. Yeah. All these UmbraCollab start with a couple of minutes of I can't hear.
Yes, exactly. We can't hear each other.
With too many microphones plugged in is the problem.
Oh, he's got the boom mic out. Hello,
I know.
professional.
The other one wasn't working.
I feel so unprofessional now.
I know.
Boom
It's
mic.
terrible. Well, I haven't put the light on. I look dark.
Wow.
That made. I was gonna say. I was just about to say that made the world of difference.
I mean, it's ridiculous now. I've got lights and all sorts. I don't know why. But,
Because you're a content producer.
because I couldn't go to Code Garden, I just bought all the kit as looking after myself.
I think that's a very, very valid.
That's a fair thing.
Yeah.
Hey,
For
Patrick.
somebody who didn't go to Code Garden, you were very much there in spirit.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Very much.
There
So.
with everything but, physical presence.
A gigantic poster.
And my poster guy's keeping it for me, but I don't know when I'm going to use it again.
I don't know if you saw that it got replaced with a Danish one, which was a question and then 3 bullets.
Yeah, I think it's a voting thing, isn't it? But
Something like that. And
my poster man was very keen. I had it for more than a week, basically, because he wanted the money, and I was like, yeah, no, I only need it for those the like 5 days. So.
You're not like HQ or something. Sorry, Dean.
I was going to say I pretended to translate it into the 3 import options for using. Sorry, Lottie, go on.
No, I was just thinking they've got a little balcony at the new HQ office. I think it would and you sync all the things.
Do you think it's that small balcony? It was an 8.5 meter tall poster. It's like it's like the height of a house, yeah.
Actually, now you come to mention it, it was quite big.
It was quite big, yeah. It's as tall as the house.
I might rethink my suggestion.
So I haven't got anywhere to keep it. Not if I could ever get it out of Denmark. So, yeah. And it was at least half the cost of it was the poster. So I don't know whether we'll use it again, but
We've got a possible project coming up, Kevin, that's in our old CMS, which is in an Access database.
Yeah.
And it's all in blocks, exactly like the blocks are in UmbraCo, but for the life of us, we can't work out how on earth we're going to get the content out of that.
CMS import might do it. Might do it if you get it out, because it does spreadsheets, but I don't know.
Been thinking about it.
If he does block stuff.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who had a CMS built driven by an access database, and every so often had to go onto the server to delete the lock file. Stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've still
Vintage.
got a dozen live lots. We're gradually converting them one by one to UmbraCollab. I promised I'd do it all before I retire.
Perfect.
You see, I get grumpy if people tell me they're using UmbraCo 8, never mind an access database.
So, Dean, what are we up to today?
Oh, right, okay. Very exciting. I have got a screen shared. What
let
we're
me take a
gonna
look.
do is, well, I don't know. Look, I need to ask first of all if people think this is a good idea. Oh, sorry. Hi, Paul. By the way, Seal.
Right,
So
Elliot, good
what
morning.
happened? What happened was I was following the installation, which I'll find somewhere. Setup, is that the one? Install, yeah, that'll do. So I thought I'll just have a go at installing version 10, and I thought, oh, I'll have terminal on one side, and I'll have the instructions on the other, and that happened. So I thought, is that a good idea? And then of course every page you go to, you get, you can have the navigation.
Yeah, that menu just grows and grows and grows as you get deeper and deeper.
Yeah, so I just thought it'd be nice for most websites that I build. I usually make the left nav go to the bottom, because 9 times out of 10 you'll read the article, get to the bottom, and go somewhere else. If you're on a slightly smaller screen. So that was it really. Also, it was a bit of a shock that it looks completely different. I did think that was the top nav, but of course there's another top nav as well. So it's just a UX thing really. So before I do anything, is that a good idea to move it to the bottom?
I think it makes more sense, at least. Either the CSS needs tweaking that, the breakpoint doesn't kick in at this width, because it seems a bit ridiculous that the menu changes at this width. Or it's jumped to content link. But yeah, either way, you want to read the content, not a massive long list of navigation, most likely.
Yeah, I just think all I was going to do is just change that to flex, which gives you the. It says without being able. They're going to move. You have to grab the right bit.
If you're on a mobile, which I'm just doing now, and I'm just looking for the install instructions. So I go to documentation in the top navigation, top right, the hamburger menu, and then I go to fundamentals, and then or any of them. I do need to keep flicking through that
navigation at the top. That's what I was asking first. So what you're saying is you'd go from here, you'd go to documentation.
Yeah.
And then you want the nav at the top.
Well, because I don't know how trustworthy the content of the page is for navigating through to this items if you don't have the menu at the top. I haven't looked in detail as to.
So let's start again. So if you went to documentation, is there anything else on the page? Yeah, there is a whole bunch of stuff on the page as well.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? Which adds more context, in fact, to the items rather than the menu items. So if all of the pages themselves have the links that are in the menu that appears at the top, then scrolling down through the page would enable you to find what you're going to need to find. I mean, I agree with you, it does get quite long in some sections.
That's it. I mean, the other thing I thought about is if that loaded collapsed, that was another option.
Or was even just collapsible. So you could just.
Yeah, but as you're flicking through, it'll keep loading full screen as well.
This is the most opinion I've had on a UX issue about 3 years.
To be quite honest, Lottie, that's why I asked before. Just just steaming into it, whether people think that's a good idea. Because I have got a really quick solution just to make this appear at the bottom. Of course, we could put a jump to nav at the top, but then again, as you quite rightly described, do you think, and there is another thing as well, I guess, are people likely to be using the documentation on their phone?
Yeah, I am. Am I the only loser who's on a bus and thinks, "Oh, how
No, not at all.
No.
I read loads of tutorials on my phone.
Yeah, you're not the only one.
At a station where Wi-Fi works. So it only works at station. I imagine. I mean, we don't have any access to the stats here.
No.
I would imagine that mobile is pretty used on this site. It's pretty well used. Sorry.
Yeah.
As well. I guess the other thing is, as you were saying, Warren, is it the case it jumps down too early?
Yeah, it's a pretty wide breakpoint there. Like you was on the desktop, and you've got what, nearly 50-50 split, and it was going to that breakpoint pretty early, I would say.
I mean,
but that's just an opinion.
It's probably around that. I'm assuming it's probably using Bootstrap, which I think's around.
It's probably some old archaic iPad, probably.
I think it's about 992. Looking at that.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it would be worth seeing how it looks, Dean.
Yep, exactly. Why don't we try it?
I can do it without downloading. And just do it in DevTools. That's. So let's have a look. So we've got.
How audible is it when I drink coffee? Should I be muting myself?
No, you're fine. Andy is watching on YouTube and is asking, for me, it makes more sense to collapse the menu, he's saying. Just for yet another opinion.
It is very, very long on some. Like, if you're in...
If you're nested deep, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those issues where it's a consequence of 3 or 4 other issues. In other words, there's ever such a lot stored in this site, and it might have been that when you get to documentation, when you choose documentation, that you actually get, let's start from the beginning again, go this way. There could be another top nav with these. There could be. I don't think that. How many are there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I mean you could probably get away with another top nav and remove one level of navigating down. But just to show you what it looks like, it was it tutorials? I get lost in here. Getting started. So there's a few levels down, but so we've got sidebar area and main area. So I presume it's that. So it would be something like flex. So that's what it would look like side by side at a smaller level. I think that's possibly. So we could just change the breakpoints and have a slightly different thing going on for the breakpoints. And then the other option was, and I think I did send a bit of code, Warren, let me see if I can find it. I put a little snippet in our chat, didn't I?
Yeah, somewhere early in the week.
Which is in social.
Yeah, I think it was in social. You put.
And it was.
With the side-by-side breakpoints, when you scroll down and you run out of content...
Yeah, what happens? Yeah.
So it's still...
Well, you could
flex those CSS muscles, Dean.
Yeah.
Flex, did you get my joke there?
Yeah.
Very clever.
sticky. So it just stays on the left as you scroll. Did I change that to fixed rather than sticky? There we go. And I think it has to be, I think you have to tell it where to stick. I can't remember. I'd have to look that up. But yeah, you could make it so that when this hits the top, but what if it's longer than your screen? That could cause problems.
Just as a comparison, I know the Microsoft Docs has very similar, very nested structures of stuff. How are they dealing with this same problem? Does anyone know? Is it just, are they using breadcrumbs on a mobile? Does it totally change? I know on desktop they've got like a load of stuff on the left hand side.
Yeah, I think they're breadcrumbs. They go straight into the article.
I can't remember if it's flex column reverse. Let's have a look. I'm gonna embarrass myself and actually search for it.
That's fine, Dean. I think all developers use Google.
It looks like they, under their hamburger menu, Microsoft, so they go straight into the article but with a breadcrumb above. But the hamburger menu then pops out and enables you to kind of go deeper into levels.
So this is what I was thinking.
That's quite nice.
Which you get to the page, it's really clean, but as you say, as you're navigating through, you're going to be landing on pages. So I guess that's another thing that I do that makes mine work by putting navigation on the left, which is what I call index pages. Don't have any content. They just have an index. They're just purely used for an index to help users navigate. So they just go click through, click through, click through, and you're in the content that you want. But yeah, that's basically the solution that I was thinking of, moving it to the bottom. But I think you do have a point. If somebody's navigating the whole site on a mobile, they're going to want the navigation at the top. So
yeah, and I'm just looking at one page, the reference page, and it looks like the events list that's in the menu isn't actually in the page itself. So if you were looking for events, you might not find that until you get to the bottom, although that might be a versioning issue. Do events still exist? I'm a bit behind.
where's events?
Oh yeah, so that's interesting because events is only version 8.
Yeah, because it's notifications now.
Yeah, of course. So events is in the menu permanently on the left of reference, but it only appears in this central pane if you're on version 8, because it defaults to version 9 and 10, and there is no such thing as events. That's the other thing. How does the versioning?
It does get quite long, doesn't it?
I kind of feel like if I could just collapse it, then it's up to me, isn't it?
Yeah, that could be a good solution.
I mean, the Microsoft Docs is very similar. It's collapsed behind a little button. So they've got a little 3 dots that says table of contents, and it opens it up.
You go to docs.microsoft.
Docs.microsoft?
Yeah. Choose your weapon of choice.
Okay, so let's say we want to learn a bit about .NET and .NET overview.
Yeah.
So I got that on the left.
Yeah, I don't need to tell you how to pretend you're on a mobile, do I?
So when you go really small, it's behind those 3 little dots at the top.
Yeah, they've completely moved it out of the way.
So it's actually quite small. There's 3 little dots underneath the hamburger.
Oh, here.
Yeah. And then it pops in when you do table of contents. But that's because they've got other stuff going on.
but they've also got a breadcrumb trail. So that's what I was thinking would be a good idea.
Crumb would be fun to do. Can't be hard, can it?
If you had
No, because we've got some there
look,
already.
look,
So.
look. Yeah, I mean, if that stayed at the top, then you could move the nav to the bottom
Never
because
know.
you can navigate back up like that. But then the nav would be at the bottom the whole time, which I don't know if people would like that. So if I'm new to UmbraCo, getting started, and then probably go to fundamentals and then go to setup. Or which would be the fanciest of all, is that it slides out from the side.
Yeah, I kind of figure Microsoft did some research, right?
That's what I'm assuming.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. They don't listen to anyone else's feedback, so but, yeah, I don't know.
I do think it's not great as it is. I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly
this is
what the
that.
solution is,
Yeah,
but I
to
do
be
think
quite
there's
honest, I'd
something
much
there.
rather do something that me just moving it to the bottom without getting anyone's opinion. I don't think is, and it's not set up to work that. It's not ideal for it to be working that way either.
So can you make it work so it's collapsed and then it pops out like Microsoft?
From the side,
Yeah.
I think we could.
Can you make it work like Microsoft do?
Let's have a go.
I think I've got a funny feeling Microsoft have probably got it either in an iframe or.
Well, you're going to have to work with
What we have.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever we
This is
have.
the point.
Kevin did an amazing job changing the packages search results page, but that was literally just some CSS magic, wasn't it?
It was
Kevin?
just the CSS, and we used the Visual Studio Store for that as well. So I can't remember if it's actually got Bootstrap in. I'm not sure it has. It's got a bit of Bootstrap, but I'm not sure it's got a whole lot.
In docs, is
Yeah.
docs using Bootstrap? Is that what you're saying?
I think the everything's got the root of Bootstrap in it.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think it has. So, for example, let's just.
It's got rows.
Mind you,
and stuff,
what
so
version of Bootstrap as well?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Old,
remember. I think you have
probably.
to look at
3, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one
the,
will
yeah,
have
at
that
least
data.
3. At
Because
most
Paul
3.
and I looked at something the other day actually, and we realised that it was a template, and it was using an older version of Bootstrap as well. But
Never
yeah,
assume anything.
I think it'd be pretty cool if we can just hide and display it. And I don't see why
Let's give it a go. Have you got the source code on your machine at all?
not. Yeah, looking at how long we've just spent, I'll be surprised if we can get that done today. But
We can at least make a start.
we can have a crack.
Make
And
sure you're up and running.
Yep.
well, I think that part will be interesting. So, I have forked our UmbraCo previously. Am I right in saying, Warren, and Lottie as well, is the correct way to do this to fork it, work in the fork in a branch, and then do the PR on the branch in my own?
Yeah. So work in a silo separately. Then you'll create a branch, and then you'll submit that branch back to like the main repository, and that'll become a PR.
Before you leave this page,
Yes.
GitHub have added this. I don't know how long ago they added it.
About a month ago, I think. That lovely fetch upstream button.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Because you haven't done anything on your own fork, have you? You just forked it a while ago, and haven't done anything else. Is that right, Dean?
I think we made a change, and then Sebastian merged it.
Okay, so that's
Been and dealt with.
Been merged. So you should, if you do fetch upstream,
It should fetch upstream. Okay.
It should fetch upstream.
And then you don't
Fetch
have
and
to
merge.
Google Paul Seal's article on how to fetch upstream using the CLI.
Paul, your article must have
Yeah.
taken a hit, a downturn.
It's been a while actually. They've had that on there for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do a compare first, or
coachhead.co.uk/fork.
Compare first, or just go for it?
Just go for it, unless you know that you've got stuff that was in your local repository that you was working on.
Honestly, it was about 2 lines of less that we changed just to make the lists have a bit more space in them.
So that was the equivalent of Lottie deleting her fork.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. Delete the fork, recreate it.
That's exactly what I would do normally. Right,
So
okay.
thank you.
And then I have here.
Yeah, so you're going to clone it however way you like to do that.
And
There it is, top of the list.
UmbraCo docs. I presume
Wrong repo.
I've
UmbraCo.
already got it on this machine. I have already got it locally. It will just overwrite it.
No, wrong repo, Dean. Wrong repo, Dean. UmbraCo docs is the markdown files that powers the documentation. So you want the repository that was at the top of the list, that was our UmbraCo.
Oh, beg your pardon. Okay. But if I've already got it locally, it will just overwrite it. Is that correct?
Potentially it could complain at you. See what happens. Give it a go. If not, it
Again,
will.
I would normally delete it and then pull it again.
If not, yeah, it's browsed to it on disk and.
Do you have a database? That's quite fundamental to running our locally.
Yes. Good point, Lottie.
Is Dean still there?
I am. Is the database in the repo?
Yes, it's a backpack. It's linked. There's a link to it off the. Well, sorry, it's not in the repo.
It's in the README, isn't it?
In the README of the repo. Download from Azure Storage. It is a very limited database. It has 2 dummy packages in.
Okay. Do I?
Yeah, open the README. Yeah, open the README for now. So we can go and download that and find the link to that backpack, which is there.
Yeah,
Yes.
line 22.
This one here?
Yep.
Yeah, we need to download that and restore it. Do you have SQL Server 2017 or later on your local machine?
Good question.
Because that will be a fundamental blocker if you don't.
Is that actually doing anything?
Yes, it did.
Okay, and what do I do with this?
Open SQL Server.
Right, let's see if I've got SQL Server, I guess. Probably not. So I need... I'm sure I've had it before. What do I need to install? Just SQL Server in general?
How do you normally
You can
work
install
on
that through Windows, can't you?
How do you normally develop on run UmbraCo sites, Dean?
Either I would use SQL CE, or in 10 we're using not SQLite.
Oh, what SQL CE? So the file database.
Yeah, or I would have something on Azure.
Okay, so remote database.
Yeah. Predominantly we just work with remote databases now because it's easier. Okay, so but I'm fairly I don't know because it's new machine and I had it on my old one. Do I need to install SQL?
In order to be able to run
This
our
local. Yeah.
repository locally, you would have to, unless no, I was going to say unless we could host it, unless you can
That's
host.
okay.
it,
I don't
unless
mind.
you host it,
I don't
then
mind.
I'd do it.
I don't mind installing. What
A
am I?
new
What am I
machine.
installing?
So just search for SQL Server on Google.
Does it need to be full fat SQL Server, or will local DB be good enough? How big's
No.
the database?
It
Oh,
needs
that's
to
the
be.
sad
I think
story.
it's full. You need to get the back files a SQL.1. So I think it's a SQL 2000 and something.
Yeah, I would go.
So scroll down, download a free specialized edition, and I normally go developer as opposed to the Express.
Yeah. The unexpected things you have to do when you want to work on the hour.
No,
code.
I did.
Well, this
have
is
it
a good
installed
learning
on my other
exercise.
Machine. I did have to use it. I can't remember what for. Basic. Is that going to give us what we need?
Should do, but yeah, I can't remember.
Or should
what-
go through the custom one and get expert advice from you lot.
Go on,
Don't-
go custom, and
Yeah.
let's
Go
accept
custom.
all the defaults.
Oh, what did you do?
Now, do I really want it
Oh,
on C? No, I don't think I do.
What sort of are they? Are they both good fast SSDs?
Yes.
Good, eh?
Yes. Don't. I'm gonna not get tempted into showing off about my lovely precision. It's new. Let's leave it at that.
Is it a laptop or a desktop?
No, it's a desktop, and I think it's got more RAM than all the computers in the house put together. But, and it's an i9, etc., etc.
while we watch this download, have you all applied to Code Cabin? There's only a week left for applications.
What? You know how you have like the convince your boss thing?
Yeah.
I need that for a convince your partner. If someone wants to write it, that would be lovely.
Why should I be away from all kids and responsibilities for a long weekend?
Yeah, and 2 weeks having to make that argument 2 weeks after Code Garden as well.
Just on another note, did everybody see the Azure DevOps example thing that came out yesterday?
No idea what you're talking about, Dean. Sorry.
If I find it while we're waiting for this, because I think some of you will like it.
Not a lot.
What I was thinking.
Thank you. Someone else old enough to get that.
So it's called the Azure DevOps Demo Generator. And if I sign in, it should show you all the demos that you can choose from. So it's got a whole bunch of stuff already there. Well, I say a whole bunch. It's not a lot by the look of it at the moment. But I'm sure they'll start adding to it. And it's just DevOps projects already done, but some of them have got things like CI/CD stuff built in, all the YAML written for you, etc., etc. I don't know, just it was kind of quite interesting. Reminded me of your scripting, Paul.
Oh, cool. That's in the docs now, by the way. As a tip.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Is there? Oh, very nice.
Yeah, got it in the docs as a tip. On the installs page.
Also, that means your contribution counts goes up as a result.
Yeah.
Our homepage. I've fallen off the Our homepage. Pretty desperate.
Oh no.
Usually my solution to that is to find an UmbraCo repo that isn't counted that I've contributed in and just add that to the list, but I think I've run out. No more. I have to do some contributions. Can you break something, someone, and then I'll fix it? There we go. Warren, you can
Yeah,
break something.
I'll break
Let
something
me
for
know
you, Lottie. Yeah.
and tell me how to fix it.
Of course.
Just contribute an obscure translation like Klingon or something.
Sadly, I don't speak Klingon.
Do you speak a language that the back office isn't translated to?
Only terribly precise English. No. I don't. That's a lot of pressure I've just put on myself now, isn't it? Claiming to do precise English. But there were just, I'm still not quite over the lack of apostrophes in the keynote. But I'll get there.
I have thought of a quick idea.
Yep.
Quick fix. So this is set with display table. The bar on the side is set with display table. So what we could do is just change the percentages. So you see this is set to 30%. So you could make it just be 10%. It's still usable. And change the main area to 90.
But when you're on that sort of size screen, yeah.
For different size screens, we could just put some breakpoints in and change the percentage size. And then you could make it a certain size display none, and we could have a toggle button to make it reappear. How does that sound?
Yeah, I think on the screen size that you're looking at.
And then when we toggle it off, what we could do is we could make that be 100% when it's toggled. I'm not sure why there's a gap here. There must be something restricting it somewhere. There, probably. There's probably a max width. Yeah, there's a max width set there that we could probably change. There you go. So that way you get the full width of the screen on smaller screens, and we can just put a little toggle button to toggle the nav in and out from the side. Does that sound like a solution?
That would be an improvement, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we just want to toggle that nav on and off, don't we? I think it'll be for another day, obviously, but okay. So I've got SQL Server.
Oh gosh, I hate this dialogue. Do you need to go to install from memory down the left hand side?
I feel like we're not quite seeing the top of it. If you scroll up, there isn't. Oh yeah, it's that link at the top, isn't it? New SQL Server standalone installation.
That one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Re-edition.
Yes.
Yep.
Accept.
Of course.
Global rules.
We don't read them.
No.
I started taking a leaf out of Carl's book and using Docker for my local SQL instance, because I can blow it up if I don't want it anymore. I can install a different version.
It's a good idea.
Uninstalling SQL Server is, well, you just can't do it. It's got an uninstaller, but you're never going to get it off your machine once it's there.
Anybody remember installing AOL and trying to uninstall it? It's like a virus.
It's because of this. Like, SQL is not one thing; it's so many things. And cleaning it up is.
I don't really need R and Python and Java, do I? So.
No, but you do need the database engine services, right?
So. Server application.
Well, no, you won't need that.
Why was it decided to be in C when I chose D?
No,
because
it's the installer. Yeah.
So you'll need, but this is for the instance as well, rather than the.
You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. I don't think. I kind of feel like I should have just chosen install. But go on.
Well, you should have done chocolatey and just got that to just do the silent install.
Now, funny you should say that, Paul. I think I accidentally installed chocolatey when I installed Node Version Manager the other day.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
I mean, I can go back and run that now, probably. I don't know.
I don't think we're very far. We're not very far away now. I don't think.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do I tick any of these?
No, I think you're good.
Just database engine services. That's it. Yeah. I'm sure you can go back in and add things if they're missing, can't you? So.
I have a Word doc that I have all the steps that I use for
I
installing.
thought you might, Lottie. I thought you might. Well, actually, I was slightly wrong. I thought it would be an Excel spreadsheet, but
It's got screenshots. And of all the other things that we tick, I don't think you need them. So I would just, as long as you've got database engine,
yeah.
then
Okay,
that's
next.
fine.
Now, what do you think when people call a spreadsheet a database? Does it get you going? Does it annoy you?
No, because I think they're quite right. I think Excel
I think that
one of
is
the most
right.
powerful
Oh,
data
get
storage
out of here.
tools there
What
are.
crazy people don't have the spreadsheets, a database?
Oh,
Isn't a database just a collection of spreadsheets, right? That's with that controversial note. Default instance, that's fine, isn't it? Just leave it called what it is. Probably help with tutorials, I would have thought.
Definitely.
So now I've got this installed, I can go back to my John D. Jones videos and he seems to install the whole lot properly. Right. I don't know what any of that
Some of the
means.
words is brilliant. It makes me laugh so much. Right.
I mean, I think this is where default, doesn't it?
Don't tick
Yeah.
anything, just
Yeah,
next.
next.
You
We
don't
got a
need-
license for a big sequel.
This is the developer edition.
Oh, is that free?
Yeah, and it is
Ah.
full.
Windows authentication, just next, I think.
Mixed
I
mode.
presume these are all
it's
mixed.
Mix, so you can have an SA or a password.
No,
and
you
I,
need-
and you'll need to pop it in.
Oh gosh, okay.
Not very secure. Just a load of stars, mate. You want to make that look
Am I going to have to add a user as well?
You shouldn't need to, because you're just using this for local development. Like, there comes a point
you
where
could add current user. I'd do that.
yeah, but
I'll leave it for the minute.
you'd already have Windows authentication mode set up, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, so apparently you have to anyway. Fine.
Add current user.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, is that password going to be my password for the machine?
It's your password for the SA. There's an SA account that will, like a user that will be set up on the SQL server for connecting to like over TCP versus the Windows authentication mode, which is, and then you'd log in as you, if that makes sense.
Right, so I'm just going to pop it into KeyPass, so that will be...
Oh, I thought it'd be a post-it note.
Well, you have to put it in the connection string later, won't you? For
Not if you
hour, presumably.
You can do trusted.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
Sorry about this, just making a note of it. Okay, that's done. Oh, okay, and that's C14 local. Bound to forget. Okay, next. I think we just assume that's...
yeah.
Yep.
So just while I was preparing for this, I'm sure you all know this anyway, but in a previous one of these things, we had an issue with trying to change the version of Node by installing Node Version Manager on a machine where Node had already been installed. I think it might have been Seb who was doing that.
Yeah, I think it was.
But from experience, I found out the hard way that you can't do that, and you actually have to uninstall Node first, and there's a Node cache clearing thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have to clear that, then uninstall Node, then install Node Version Manager, and then reinstall Node.
So whilst this is doing this, can we be jumping into the source code and looking at some of the SAS or CSS and
Yeah,
just
sure.
be doing it a bit blind maybe whilst that's doing its stuff?
While you open it, Matt Hart has built something so that it can. You don't have to have a Node version manager or anything. It Dockerizes your front end builds. Yeah. So speak to Matt Hart about that if you're interested. He might do a talk about it at some point.
Nice.
Are you saying at some point I am going to have to join the Docker train?
No.
You might have to.
No. Okay.
Just update Node.
Just don't work with front end, and then you don't.
Yeah.
I think it's
front-
working with older stuff that's the issue.
Yeah, is
isn't
it? It is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. You have the Docker whatever file, and then I don't know, and then you just run a command, and it just builds your client side thing for you for whatever version.
Oh,
of
it creates
built
the
on Node.
environment with the right version of Node already installed.
Yeah, it just runs it for you and updates your local files for you. Jobs are good.
I think they've resolved the issue with working with different versions of Node in the latest version of Node anyway, haven't they? So there come a time where we won't have to worry about that.
Looking at the README, it says that all the CSS, JavaScript, etc., in the UmbraCollab client project, and that you either run the build script that's in the build folder, or you can run a couple of npm commands. But you should be able to see. So first of all, we learn it's SAS. So
yeah, I thought it was less, but I think I might have been getting mixed up with
Core
the other-
CMS is less from memory.
Yeah.
well, I've never seen a less file. Are they similar to SAS?
Yeah.
Just pretty much the
Very
same.
And that's interesting actually, because I've just noticed it actually says failed to run. Gulp is not recognised. I wonder if I have to install Gulp.
So if you
Is
browse,
If there's a project file, you just do an npm install and the root, and should fetch everything that's needed.
Let's give it a go.
If you open a console root, it should just.
It needs to
it's
be
be in the client folder.
UmbraCollab. What version of Node are you using locally?
Good point. I'm going to need
Given-
to change it. Yeah, we'll have to change
Is-
Node.
It will package.log.json file is created for Node version of npm. I'm guessing that's what that's saying.
This looks like it's all done. So
Yes.
close that and close this as well. I don't think we need it for the minute, do we? Or oh no, we need to unpack the.
Yeah, but this is the installation software, so you can close the installation software. We need to open SQL Server Management Studio that hopefully has been installed on your machine.
If I just run, is it Node-V? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on a pretty new version.
So, and do you know what version you need to use? How do you find what version you need to use?
Be nice if we documented it, but is it in our
on their
README?
machine? And if you've got it on your machine, what version of Node are you using?
Depends what mood I'm in.
How would you find out what? Oh, there should be an error somewhere, shouldn't there?
Well, not that.
Yeah.
Not that'll be nice. This is it will be what version. If you open the gulp file, we should be able to tell. I don't open the package.json file. We can usually infer it from the version of gulp that's referenced. Because if it's gulp 4. Okay, so gulp 4 and it's gulp SAS. Is that complaining about? So gulp 4 is okay in newer versions. It's Node SAS that's complaining. Node SAS will have the version of Node SAS will have a limit, I expect, if that's what's complaining.
If you run the build command files.bat, it looks like it downloads Node version 8.9.4 and then does that.
So, yeah, Gulp SAS has been deprecated, and I don't think it's compatible with Node SAS, but that's probably neither here nor there at the moment. What we want to know is what version of Node it needs to run on, don't we?
Yeah, I think Lottie just pointed that out. Yeah, 8.9.4.
You've got that build folder in your solution, Dean, in your solution explorer. You've got build at the top. If you expand the build folder, there's a right at the top, all the way at the top of the whole solution. Yeah. And then build client files.bat. This is the other recommended way that you build the front end. And that's all I've ever done, and I've not ever thought about Node versions.
Here we go.
I think just for easiness, just run that batch file rather than setting everything up.
Yeah.
Can you just run that?
You will have to browse to it on disk or browse to it on terminal.
Folder, and then you do dot / and then the name of the file .ps or .bat or something.
In build.
Yeah, and I would open a command prompt here because you kind of want to see the output, whereas if you just run it, then you won't.
Okay, and what do? Just run the file?
Yeah, so start typing B, or what was it, whatever it was called, build client. So start typing B and then
build
tab.
client files.
Okay. Build client
Tabulated success.
files, and then
Tab, because you only press it.
It'll complete it for you. Yeah.
It won't work unless you put the ./ in anyway.
Okay. And then just run or
Return.
Yep, hit enter.
return. Downloading Node.
Yeah, so I think it's downloading the version of Node that it needs. And then
Great. And then hopefully I should just be able to switch to that version of Node. Yeah, I'll just ignore all the other stuff. That's my posh thing not working properly. Change the red to
I love some of the old comments from Studio 13. Yeah.
You're not using Visual Studio, that version, is it? You're using a newer version?
I have actually got 2017 and 2019. These installed.
should we? Well, is this going to take a while? Do you think? Should we open? SQL
Looks like it, and it's.
And restore that database.
Yeah. If you've not installed SQL Server Management Studio, you'll need to get it, or use the new Azure. Is that Azure Data Studio?
Studio is not too bad. But I don't know how easy it is to do backpack restores through Azure Data Studio. Management Studio is a little bit
There's
easier.
a plugin for it. But
Nice.
yeah, so
We should have selected SQL Server Management Studio install from the install screen. Shouldn't we?
Was that in the list? I didn't see it. Ah,
I think it's on that first list. In that really, really ugly looking page where they give you a long list of links. This is definitely not what you need at the moment, Dean. This is about just enabling you to basically switch on and off your SQL server.
So run this again.
No, because I think you extracted it to somewhere D or something. You put it on the D drive, so there will be some wherever you put it.
SQL
2019, then run the executable set up there. That'll get you that horrible looking dialogue again. And in there, I think under installation, there you go. About the third one down. Yeah, install SQL Server.
Yeah,
tools.
that's what I used. And have a
Have you
guess
seen
what
Have you seen the description? Yeah, I was about to send you this URL to go and get it because I was pretty sure that it wasn't bundled.
Yeah.
There's another couple of gigs for you.
So download preview 2. What do you reckon? Just stick with that, or get the preview?
I'll just get the normal one, but that's because I'm not an early adopter.
Oh, I think I'm going to take a chance and go for the preview one.
What's the worst that can happen?
Is that even doing anything? Did that?
It might be the very tiny file that it downloads.
It's it should open a new page. That's what it did for me. Visit download, opened a new tab with an external link. There you go. In there, then you can download the preview. Oh, it just takes you back to the same page.
That sums up Microsoft to me. They are the master of loops. I think I better just do that. Oh, hang on. What was that one? Is that it there? No, that's something different, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the SQL Server.
Oh, I don't know.
To be honest, when I heard that the task today was working on Hour, I thought, well, the task will be getting Hour set up locally.
Yeah,
and
that's.
So
what? You should say that. That's literally what I wrote in Discord.
Yeah.
While waiting, so because I am still curious as to the whole why we need a full fat install of SQL Server. What is it specifically that we need it to do that the local DB can't do?
We need to restore a SQL Server 2017 database, which is in a.
You can do that to local DB. You can restore back files to it, or backpack. The only difference between LocalDB and real SQL Server is that LocalDB, because it's the same database engine, is that it has a limitation of 10 gigs. So if Hour is less than 10 gigs, LocalDB should be fine. If it's not, it won't.
It should be nowhere near that.
Nowhere near that for this test database, but obviously real production,
Sure.
yes, close to.
So if you'd have said that about half an hour ago, louder, Jason.
Well, sorry, I joined a bit late, and I didn't know if you'd decided it for some specific reason. Because there are some stuff that it's super annoying and hard to do with LocalDB, but if it's just regular SQL stuff you're trying to do, and then regular SQL operations, you can just point the SQL Server Management Studio at it and treat it like it's a regular old instance of SQL.
Well, it looks like your front-end build worked. The client files.bat finished, at least. Whether it actually did what it was meant to, it was finished, wherever that window was. So I think our objective is now just to.
Well, should I just see if it runs?
Well, no, because we need to restore the
The
data.
Oh, we have to
database,
restore the database, don't we?
And then we have to set a connection string, which will be available to us once we've built for the first.
I can close this now, can't I? The installation thing.
Yeah, we really don't need that anymore. Like saying.
And now I go to SQL Server Manage. Is that not installed?
Try SSMS. Oh, you've downloaded it. Have we installed it?
Did you run the install after downloading it? Yeah.
Downloads.
You'll recognise it because it looks like the Visual Studio installer. I think it's you. It's got the same sort of, or the old Visual Studio installer now. I think.
I might as well install it on C. Does Visual Studio install on D or by default on your C drive? I can't remember.
Yeah.
See
I don't think it matters.
your machine, Dean.
You know what I'm saying? I did have this
Ooh.
installed on my old machine along with. You thought of an idea, Jason?
No, important weirdness about installing SQL Server. If you have more than one hard drive and you install different parts of SQL Server across the two hard drives, unless the two hard drives are on a hardware level similar in certain, I forget what exactly it is, it breaks. And it's because SQL Server does some really low level weird stuff with disks, and it's one of those things that you'll find out if it breaks. You won't find any docs, and it will just be a disaster. You'll be like, why on earth won't the engine start? And it's this super weird. I think you have to go into the registry and tweak some settings and stuff to say, yes, I know my disks aren't the same, whose disks are. But
I'll just reinstall it back on.
I think as it's only the install. Yeah, I think as it's only the installer that's gone on C, you'll be fine. But yeah, I remember doing that. I had something installed on D and something installed on C.
Yeah, I ran the installer on D. I think I've installed it on both on C, and I'll leave them both on C, seeing as that's where the operating system is as well. But yeah, you're absolutely right, and I remember that when you're partitioning stuff, there's a couple of ways to partition that can be more or less useful. Yeah, my old machine had all of this on, as well as stuff going all the way back to the 1990s. So,
I'm aware of the time. Can we do a build in your solution? Because
Yeah,
will generate
good point.
a web.config file that we will need to update.
Yeah, I'm going to have to wrap up anyway. So, build on just on our UmbraCollab client.
I would build the solution, not the client. We need to build the whole thing.
Build the whole thing.
Yeah, because what the build step will do is take a copy of a template web.config file and create your own web.config file, and then we can show you where you will update the connection string to make sure you know that.
So how does everyone feel about the nav just sliding in and out?
I think it's definitely worth seeing what it would look like. Maybe do a video GIF of it working or something when you've got it working.
As opposed to what happens at what we got at the minute on mobile.
A very, very long nav before you get to the content.
Yeah. And there's no. I feel like we should also have a breadcrumb for that.
Yeah. Well, there is a breadcrumb.
But
there's not on
mobile.
Is that on mobile?
No.
Well, that's the point. I think when it gets to a certain size, the breadcrumb disappears.
Yeah.
Which is
but
weird.
We could stop that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you see here? There's a media query on the breadcrumb.
Yeah.
We could remove that altogether. So if we just change that to 192. Oops. 192 for the minute. So now, where does it go? I'm not sure it's going to like that.
Just can't.
It's just set up.
Might not
is
be
it?
easy to do in DevTools. But
Is it just setup? Oh,
yeah, is it the word just set up?
Oh, fair enough. Then maybe it doesn't. It's just interesting, isn't it? That on the menu to the left-hand side, you've got a strong idea of when it's there. You've got a strong idea of where you are in fundamental setup
there you
and
go.
upgrading. If it's just set up, that's a bit weird. But it wasn't just set up, was it? A second ago.
It
on
was
desktop.
not just set up.
Nice.
maybe
There's other
maybe
stuff
there's
going on, I
something
guess.
Let's have a look. Oh, that's also got, it's got a media query on the utilities and on the breadcrumb itself. Yeah, I can fix all that. So we can make it so you can keep the
So do you know what's left to do to get this working locally, Dean? You need to restore.
I think we'll have to leave it for another day. I think, just as you said, Lottie, just getting it working locally is a job in itself.
Yeah,
Sure
you're
is.
very, very nearly there.
Yeah.
You've got all the
Yeah,
tools
and
to keep
Sebastian's, Sebastian's off was the one who originally, because I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And he said, "Yeah, I think it's good."
Then
I
he
just
went
don't know how.
And then he went on holiday.
Yeah.
They went on holiday, but I don't know how useful
worth-
this is for UmbraCollab, because it's not teaching people anything. Like, this is going to go at some point, Aaron Bracco, isn't it, Warren?
We're slowly breaking it into smaller and smaller pieces. So the docs will have somewhere new. The packages is going to have new marketplace. Community's already got its own little bit or site. So it only kind of leaves the forum eventually.
If Aaron Bracco is going to stick around for another 2 years, then I would say it's worth doing.
No, I would say it's worth improving the mobile experience.
For sure. Yeah.
Definitely. It's just you've got to get over this mild hurdle of getting it running locally.
That's
so
okay. I'm more than happy to do it. It's
I think,
predominantly because it's something that I can actually do.
yeah. So I think it's definitely worth doing, and it's going to be here for months.
Yeah, it's not going away anytime soon.
I don't know.
Well, I think the other thing is it's the one chance to make a first impression, and if we start picking up loads of new users, new UmbraCo users, then it'd be a shame if they get to the docs and not working quite as well as they could.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Happy to pick this up on another UmbraCollab, or
Yeah, or I can lend a hand later in the week, Dean. And if I've got a bit of spare time, I can get you over that last hurdle and get you up and running.
yeah, that would be cool. I'd love to do that. I'm sure. To be quite honest, if I'm going to get stuck into it properly, then I can probably come up with some nicer ideas for the breadcrumb and hiding and displaying and a neater way of managing.
You just might change your mind when you actually see.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to remember is it's not someone's full-time job to look at the pull requests on hours. So if you can do little things,
small, don't do.
Then they're gonna. But if you're gonna submit some, like, I'm gonna completely restructure all the SAS files, that ain't gonna
Definitely no.
Don't do that.
It would not be anything like that, and 100% believe in doing it in small increments.
Awesome.
I can't update Node then.
You can, but it will just reject it, Jace.
So sad.
I don't think that'd be a bit. Yeah, I mean, if you could update, well, if we could use Node SAS, that would make a massive difference. But I've just refactored a lot of our own projects to Node SAS, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything that's a lot of work, check with someone at HQ.
Yeah, please do.
Like, you change one thing and it breaks 20 others, and then
Good luck, Dean.
Yes, thanks for sharing, Dean, and thanks for showing the process. And kind of, I suppose it's interesting to see the hurdles when you go, I haven't got SQL on my machine, and just knowing how to reinstall SQL in itself is fun and games.
I think it's going to come in handy anyway, to be quite honest.
So, good stuff.
Thanks all. See you later.
See you later. Have a good one.
Bye.
Cheery bye.